Hey, what's going on? Happy Sunday. God bless everyone. AG here. I'm about to start some work on the Civic. So I'm gonna go through some of the parts things and the install in this video. Went through Honda, scooped up a nice little Honda hat right there. This was from the Classic Acura, I think that's what it's called, Honda Classics show that I went to a while back. Picked up this shirt, pretty dope. The back's got some pretty cool stuff. But this is kind of what I'm gonna do. So today I'm actually gonna get the car ready for a track event that I've got coming on. It's coming up on March 5th. I'm coming up to, it's gonna be Homestead, it's gonna be an autocross day. So what we got going on is I wanna make sure that the car is set up well for that. This is gonna be like a shakedown for Sebring, because I do wanna do Sebring before June. I'm trying to do Sebring. This is gonna be like a shakedown, like a small track. I probably won't get past like first, second, maybe third gear, very small track, but it's gonna be a good representation or get a feel of the car, because I haven't tracked this one yet. So other than 8th mile, what I'm doing today is I'm gonna go ahead and do brakes, not a full brake upgrade. Eventually I will do a big brake upgrade on it. Today what I'm mainly gonna focus on are the pads, braided lines, and all new fluid. So I'll go through what exactly it is that I'm gonna install and what parts I'm gonna put in there. So this is what it is. So here we have what I'm gonna actually install on the car. What I'm gonna end up doing is I did some research as far as pad compound. Now the brakes on the car now are they're like new. A lot of meat left on them. They're blanks, obviously. They're nothing like drilled or slotted. So, and they're straight. The brakes go straight as an arrow, so they're good. I'm not gonna resurface or need to change out these rotors because they're legit like brand new. What I am gonna do is I decided to go with some HPS. These are Hawk pads, and these are supposed to be better than factory, better stopping power, and I've got really good reviews that I read through on these. Supposed to give you anywhere from like 20 to 40% better stopping power. So I'm gonna go ahead and install these on the car. Also, gonna install Mold Tool, 600. That's the fluid rating for the boiling temperature. They have another one that's 660. I ran 660 before on my E46 when I did Sebring, and I learned that the hard way when I was there. I had regular fluid. After 30 minutes of laps going through the track, I ended up having brake fade. Luckily, they had some mechanics on the spot that were able to bleed it out and put in the Mold Tool. Ever since then, this is the way I'm going. .4, so I don't have to do anything special with the system. This can just be, bled out and replaced, and this is definitely going to be saving me at the track as far as when it goes to brake fade for sure. I'm gonna go ahead and install these. These are the Goodrich. I ended up buying these off of Tire Rack, I think I ordered these from. So the Goodrich braided lines, this is what they look like. Let's hope that they fit. These are front and rear braided lines. This is gonna allow me to have better pedal pressure. And this is a 2000 car, although it's, I hate to say that it's old, but it is an old car. 2000's a long time ago, 23 years ago, right? So this car, the old lines, although I don't see that they're cracked, and I'll know more when I'm in there installing it. This is gonna avoid the expansion part and give me a much better pedal feel on it. Now, while I'm in there, before that, I went ahead and obviously picked up some brake cleaner so I can clean everything nice and well in there, and if I get brake fluid on anything, that can clean it up pretty quickly. I ordered this little kit off of Amazon. It was like 18 bucks maybe. It's supposed to be a bleeder system, so I don't have to have somebody in there pumping the brakes, and I can just do it all at each corner. So let's see how well this works out. I haven't used this before, so we will see if this is worth it or not. If not, I'll have to get my son in here to pump the brakes for me. Now while I'm in there, I figure might as well do my oil system and just change it out. Went with an OEM Honda filter. Went to the Honda dealership, picked this up from them. Picked up a new crush washer, and I'm gonna put in there Castrol GTX high mileage. Motor's got about probably 80,000 miles on it. It's the B16A2 SIR2 motor. It runs good. I want a heavier weight, and the reason why I want that is because if I'm planning on tracking it and I'm gonna be putting the motor through, higher temperatures, I want the oil to be thicker so that it can hopefully last and perform a little better on the track. So that's the real reason why I went through it. I do live in Florida. We don't really have freezing temperatures. You know, I know that this is a thicker weight, so in the beginning, you know, I just got to make sure that the motor's, you know, warmed up enough before I start driving the car, which is not an issue for me. But we'll see how this one performs. It's not as thick as a 50 weight, you know, but like a 1050. I think a 1040, from the research I've done, heard that it holds up pretty good. So I'm gonna do a little time lapse showing the install process. So I hope you guys. All right, so I just jacked it up off camera. I got all 4 corners lifted up and supported under safely. I gave it a push, a rock back and forth. It's something I always do just to make sure that, you know, the car's safely stable before I start taking wheels off. So I'll start taking the wheels off now and get in it. Alright, so came across the first roadblock. As you guys will see, as I was installing it, my fear of the angle. I wasn't sure because I hadn't put it up to the brake, but it's not the right angle. Even though this is straight from tire rack, I put in the car information, it's not gonna bolt up the way it needs to. The only way it would have gone on is if I do it the opposite way, but then that's gonna give me a sharp angle here, which I'm not comfortable doing. So that's gonna be a big problem. That tells me one of two things, and I think I came across this issue before. It can't be. I don't think that these are upgraded brakes. This should be original DX brakes, but for some reason that's not the right angle. So either they sent me the wrong part, or these are not the original ones on the car. One of the two things happened. Sucky part is now I have to do a bleed system anyways because I let a bunch of air in the system, and now I gotta do the whole bleeding of this crap and then figure out if I have to order a different set of braided lines, which really sucks for me. I'll still do the oil change today, but now let me work on bleeding this crap, and I probably won't record this part of it just because I'm gonna have to redo this and get rid of all these. Now the good thing is this line does not look like it's broken or torn or even damaged. This line looks really good, but I do want the better feel. So I'm, hopefully I have enough time to order the right set that comes in, even though I thought I did that. I will test out the pads though and make sure that it's the right size pads, because if the pads don't fit, then that's just a whole different issue here. Then maybe somebody at some point upgraded these, which doesn't make sense to me, but I mean it could have been, damn, that kind of sucks. But I'm glad I caught it now. Yeah, so, man, this definitely kicked my butt putting it back together, just because it started to not seal properly up here, but I went in there and made sure everything was nice and good. It's not leaking at all. Threw a lot of pressure, bled the system, put the hawk pads in. Might as well do that while I'm at it. I didn't record that side, but I will record this side, do a little, it's pretty straightforward, so I'll just do this side real quick. I'm a little bummed out, I'm not gonna lie to you, man. Just the fact that I'm gonna have to order, I know I said it earlier. Hi, mama. I said that I'm gonna have it earlier, and that I'm just gonna order what I needed, but it just sucks to have to wait for that crap. All I'm gonna do now is just pop this off, move it up, swap out the pads, and then I'll do an oil change, and that'll be the video for today. Oh, at the end of this video, I'll explain some other stuff, I guess. Might as well, right? So. So I'm over here trying to work on this piece right now, and you know, this is the crush wash. That thing was so hard to take off. Like whoever man, like you're not supposed to. Your crush washer should not look like that. I mean, that thin. I had to like pry it off with a blade because it looked like it was fused to this screw, and I literally had to use 2 wrenches to try to get this thing off. But you know, I'm basically just trying to pop off this old crush washer so I can put on the new one. It's kind of being a pain in the ass, man, to the point where I think I just break it off. It's so thin because of it. It's been crushed so many times. I mean, I'd be surprised if they've ever swapped this crush washer out, you know, whether it be from Japan or whether it be, you know, anybody else. I don't know if this was ever done like that. So let me go ahead and grab the other one. There we got the other one. I don't know if you guys can see that. Let me get down. Look at that. Huge difference compared to the other one. The other one was like a paper thin. That goes in there, boom. That goes on now. And I'm not gonna tighten it, overly tighten it like, you know, they did before. So let's go ahead and work on that. And I'll show you what I do with the filter. New filter. It's a little trick. I'm pretty sure everybody does this or knows this, but if you don't, there you go. This filter, don't put it in dry, right? Put some oil in here and put some oil around this edge. You learning too, Mama? Yeah? Good. So, put a little bit of oil in here just so that it's not dry. And kind of give it a swoosh around. You put some on this seal so that when you go to take this off, it's not fused completely and this isn't completely dry in there. So I'll just put a little bit more.
Oh no, it turned off.
It's okay, Mama. That's kind of what I do.
Daddy, why are you putting the oil inside?
So that it's not dry in there, Mama.
All
right, last piece of it. Obviously, top off your fluid. Keep checking the dipstick. Make sure it's not leaking from the bottom. What I end up doing is I actually start pulling in probably about 3 quarts worth while it's up in the air. Make sure that it's not leaking. Once I make sure that drain plug is completely sealed, I'll put the car back down on the floor leveled, and then I'll top it off that way just to make sure that it's getting the right reading on the dipstick. Because right now it's pretty leveled, but you know, if you look at the reflection in my mirror, you can see it's kind of angled a little bit. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it is angled a bit. So I want to make sure that it's leveled, so I got the right amount of fluid in here. And I'll test drive the car and make sure that the brakes are feeling good. And then I got to do my research on why these brakes didn't fit, which the braided line did not make any sense to me. But you know, such is life. This is what happens when you start building stuff and ordering stuff, and I really don't know why it's not the right braided lines, but whatever. All right. Here's the recap. What did we end up doing, right? So what we ended up with was an install on the brake pads the Hawk brake pads. The lines did not fit, and we did the oil change. So I just drove the car right now. I had to break in the pads, if you would. There's a certain way I like to break them in. I usually start off with 10 miles an hour brake, 20 miles an hour brake, 30, 40, 50, 60, and I brake on all of those. After I do that whole once, I drive the car for about 5 minutes or so, letting it cool down, do it again, letting it cool down, and then I work my way backwards, right, all the way down. And then by the time I'm done with that whole setup, drive the car for about 10 minutes. When I hit the brakes after that, they will lock up on me. That's how well they stopped for me. It doesn't have ABS brakes, so that's okay. But you can feel the difference, for sure. So I noticed that I'll know once I drive the car out again some more, I will notice that they're going to be even better. The original lines, they're okay, but they're not the ones that I want. Obviously, I want the braided lines to have a more firm feel for the pedal. So that I will change. The oil on the car, I ended up taking, I want to say like 4.2 to 4.5 quarts of oil on this one. I checked it, started it, drove it, checked it again. We're good now. It's right where it needs to be on the top on the dipstick. The braided lines, I'm very disappointed in. I still don't know what I could have done wrong. I don't think I did anything wrong. I went on Tire Rack site. I put in exactly what model car I have with the understanding that nothing's ever been changed on the brakes. It is not the right angle. The angle on the front, it's too sharp of an angle. It needs either a less sharp angle or a straight line, one of the two. The only way I could have mounted it would have been backwards. I didn't want to run that because it would have given me a sharp kink that ultimately could cause damage. I don't feel comfortable doing that, especially with brakes. Not worth it. I'm much better gonna, most likely gonna go ahead and contact Tire Rack tomorrow, find out what it could be. This part number is 20019 from Goodrich. It says it is from 96 to 2000 Civic CX, DX, HX with SM front rear or front right rotors. Smaller, I guess, rotors. The pads fit, so the Hawk pads fit fine. The rotors, I haven't measured them, but I will measure them at this point. But unless you can put EX calipers on this setup without changing everything, which to my knowledge you cannot do, because I wanted to put the EX kit on this and I was going to get that off my cousin's car, that he had a donor car, and I ended up not getting it. But to my knowledge, you can't just bolt up EX front calipers without changing the full arm. Now, I don't know if that's ever been changed or not. I assume it wasn't, but I don't know, right? So the guy who had the car before the guy I bought it for used to be a Honda tech. So he bought a lot of stuff for this car from Honda. Could he have upgraded it? He could have. I don't know. So maybe it has the bigger brakes in the front. It doesn't look that big, but I'm gonna measure the rotor and I hope that tells me if so. But I'll call them tomorrow regardless. Worst case scenario, I may just have to buy EX front braided lines and hope that those fit. But then, you know, I'm spending more money. Especially when I just wanted a full kit that does it all. I'm gonna need these for the rears. I know that I will, because there's the drums in the rear. But I hate the fact that I couldn't do that, which means I'm gonna have to make another video once I get the right ones in, installing that, and then bleeding out everything. I ended up putting the fluid in, not the mold tool, because it'll be a waste of fluid. I just topped it off. I did use the Amazon vacuum to suck out and bleed the fluid. It worked okay. It didn't leak. I mean, it had good suction. I still think I like the method of having somebody pump it, opening the valve. To me, that works old school. I think it works well though, but the brakes perform well, so the kit did its job, so 18 bucks, not a bad deal. Track ready style, I went ahead and got me a helmet. Very excited about this. I ended up going with a Zamp helmet. I've been wanting this brand for a while. I've never had a racing helmet for a car. I mean, I had a helmet when I had my motorcycle, when I had my Gixxer, but that was years ago. Ended up with this one here. Came with a cool little bag. Good reviews on it. It's a good, actual branded helmet. I got it in white. I always wanted a white helmet because Top Gear, you know, you had the Stig. He rocked the white helmet, and I don't know. I feel like he was really cool, and he drove really well. So I thought a white helmet would be dope. especially against a white front, or even if I keep the car silver when I rip this off, I think a white helmet's gonna look dope, nice and clean. I'll probably end up changing the tint on this one. This is clear. I'll put a tint one later on because I am in Florida. It's super bright out there. I'm gonna end up rocking shades most likely. But the reason I went with this helmet was a couple things. This particular model is the RZ36, and I got it in a large. I measured basically off my head the biggest point of it. There's a chart when you go get these. I bought this one off of eBay from a dealer that sells them. The good thing about this particular helmet is, one, it's got a bunch of vents on it, and it's got a port on the top that if you want to add a piece to it to have the hose with the pumped air in it, you could do that with it. It's got the front vents as well for, again, it's hot out there. I wanted to keep it as cool as possible. And the lining on this one is removable. So I needed that because, you know, once you start sweating in it, you want to be able to take it off and clean it and wash it or something like that. Some of the other ones are not removable, so I wanted one that was removable. This one also has enough space if you rock a headset. And basically, if you have somebody in the car with you on the track, you can talk to each other with a microphone. Pretty cool. Has the Hans device connections for it, so if I ever do that, I can put that on it. So the reason I got this one was because the straw, it allows me to put a water or some type of liquid that I can put right into it and have a straw feed through it, which is nice. This is SA 2020, so it's good for 5 years, for 2025, the rating. So I'm loving it, very happy with the helmet, love the design, it fits really good. I sat in the car with it, enough clearance, I'm tall, 6'2". Those seats fit well in there. My head, I have clearance between my helmet and the roof, so it's really good. I'm very happy with it. Next video I put up is most likely gonna be a mixture of the Braided line install and the fluid, and then also probably put clips of the actual track day showing how I did on it. Hopefully I do well that day, you know, but the idea is to have fun. It's gonna be a smaller track. It'll give me a good idea of how the car performs, and it'll be a good shakedown of the car before I book my Sebring track day, which will be much longer, much more technical, much faster speeds. This track day, the auto track one is maybe 60 miles an hour, 65 if I'm lucky. The other one I'll be hitting over 100 on the straightaway, so I want to make sure that the car is ready for that. Most likely I will end up putting in a front bar for Sebring, but not so much so for the autocross because I don't have the time to do it, nor do I want to spend the money on that right now. So the idea is get the brakes working really well, tires are really good, and I have the rear sway bar. I've got the front strut bar. I'll play with my settings the day of the track, my stiffness on it, so maybe that can make some adjustments, but whatever feedback I get from that day, I can maybe change angles on my camber, my caster for turning, and I'll probably throw in a sway bar. But hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know if you've had any success with the braided lines, what brand you use on a DX hatchback is a 2000. Should this have worked, or have you experienced it? Please let me know. I'm gonna do some research myself, but you know, there's no better research than experience. So if you guys have it, please share. I love that experience. Ideally not firsthand, but for myself, but firsthand that you guys already went through it. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video, and until the next time, peace.